Hello friends, in this video lecture we are reciting the one of the most important and famous military speech of all time. This was the speech Duty on Our Country was delivered by American military general Douglas MacArthur in 1962. So the speech begins like that. As I was leaving the hotel this morning, a doorman asked me, "Where are you bound for, General?" When I replied, "West Point," he marked, "Beautiful place. Have you ever been there before?" No human beings could fail to deeply moved by such a tribute as this, coming from a profession I've served so long and a people I've loved so well. It fills me with an emotions I cannot express, but this reward is not intended primarily to honor a personality, but to symbolize a great moral code, the code of conduct and chivalry of those who guard this beautiful and beloved land of culture and ancient descent. That is the animation of medallion for eyes and all for all the time. It is an expression of the ethics of American soldier that I should be integrated in this way with so noble an ideal arouses a sense of pride and an yet of humility which will be with me always. Duty, honor, country. These three hallowed words reverently dictates what you ought to be, what you can be, what you will be. They are your rallying points to build courage when courage seems to fail, to regain faith when there seems to be little cause for faith, to create hope when hope becomes forlorn. Unhappily, I possess neither that eloquence of dictation, that the poetry of imagination, nor that brilliance of metaphor to tell you all that what they mean. The unbelievers will say they are the words, but a slogan, but a flamboyant phrase. Every pedant, every demagogue, every cynic, every hypocrite, every troublemaker, and I am sorry to say, some of our entirely different character will try to downgrade them, even to the extent of mockery and ridicule. But these are some of the things that they do. They build your basic character, they mold you for your future roles as the custodians of nation's defense. They make you strong enough to know when you are weak and brave enough to face when yourself you are afraid. They teach you to be proud and unbending in honest failure, but humble and gentle in success, not to substitute word for action, not to seek the path of comfort, but to face the stress and spur of difficulty and challenge, to learn to stand up in a storm, but to have compassion on those who fail and fall, to master yourself before you seek to master others, to have a heart that is clean, a goal that is high, to learn to laugh yet never forget how to weep, to reach into the future yet never neglect the past, to be serious yet never take yourself too seriously, to be modest so that you will remember the simplicity of true greatness, the open mind of true wisdom, the meekness of true strength. They give you a temper of will, a quality of the imagination, a vigor of emotion, a freshness of the deep springs of life, a temperamental predominance of courage over timidity, an appetite for adventure over love of ease. They create in your heart the sense of wonder, the unfailing hope of what's next, and the joy and inspiration of life. They teach you in this way to be an officer and a gentleman. And what sort of soldier are those who can are you to lead? Are they reliable? Are they brave? And are they capable of victory? This story is known to all of you in the story of American man at arms. My estimate of him was formed on the battlefield many years ago and has never changed. I regarded him and them as I regard him now, as one of the world's noblest figures, not only as one of the finest military characters, but also as one of the most stainless. His name and fame are the birthright of every American citizen. In his youth and strength, his love and loyalty, he gave all that morality can give. He needs no eulogy from me or from any other man. Has written his own history and written it in red on his enemy's breath. But when it comes, I think of his patience under adversity, of his courage under fire, and of his modesty and victory. I'm filled with an emotion of admiration I cannot put into words. He belonged to history as furnishing one of the greatest examples of the successful patriotism. He belongs to posterity as one of the instructor of future generations in the principles of liberty and freedom. He belongs to the present to us by his virtue and by his achievements in 20 campaigns on 100 battlefields, around 1,000 campfires. I have witnessed that enduring fortitude, that patriotic self abnegation, and that invincible determination which have carved his status in the heart of his people from one end of the world to other. He has drained deep the chalice of courage as I listened to those songs. In the memories, I could see those staggering columns of the First World War bending the soggy packs on many a weary march, from dripping dusk to drizzling dawn, slogging ankle deep through the mire of shell-pocked roads to form grimly for the attack, blue-lipped, covered with sludge and mud, chilled by winter and rain, driving home to their objective, and for many to the judgment seat of God. It is not, I do not know the dignity of their birth, but I do know the glory of his death. They died unquestioning, uncomplaining, with faith in their hearts and on their lips, the hope that he would go on to the victory. Always for them, duty, honor, country, always their blood and sweat, tears as we sought the way and the light and the truth. And 20 years after, on the other side of the globe, again filth of murky foxholes, the stench of ghostly trenches, the slime of dripping dugouts, those broiling suns of relentless heats, those torrential rains of devastating storms, the loneliness and the utter dissolution of trails, the bitterness and the of long separation of those they loved and cherished, the deadly pestilence of tropical disease, the horror of stricken area of war, their resolute and determined defense, their swift and sure attack, their indomitable purpose, their complete and decisive victory, always through the bloody haze of their last reverberating shot, the vision of gaunt, ghastly men reverently following your password of duty, honor, country. The code which those people perpetuate embraces the highest moral law and will stand the test of any ethics or philosopher ever promoted for the upliftment of mankind. Its requirements are the things that are right, and its restraints are the from things that are wrong. The soldier, above all other men, is required to practice the greatest act of religious training, sacrifice, in battle and in the face of danger and death. He disposes those divine attributes which his Maker gave when he created man in his own image. No physical courage and no brute instinct can take the place of divine help which alone can sustain him. However hard the incidents of war may be, the soldier who is called upon to offer and to give his life for the country is the noblest development of mankind. Now you face a world of change. The thrust into outer space of satellite spears and missile marks, a beginning of another epoch in the long story of mankind, the 5 or more billion year of the scientist tells us it has taken to form the earth. In the 3 or 4 billion years of development of the human race, there has never been a more abrupt or staggering evolution we deal now, not with the things of world alone, but with the illimitable distance and yet unfathomed mystery of the universe. We are reaching out for a new and boundless frontier. We speak in strange terms of harnessing the cosmic energy of mankind, making winds and tides work for us, of creating unheard synthetic material to supplement or even replace our old standard bases, to purify sea waters for drink, of mining ocean floors for new fields of wealth and food, and of disease preventiveness to extend life into the hundreds of years, of controlling the weather, of most equitable distribution of heat and cold, of rain and shine, of spaceship to the moon, of the prime target in war no longer related to the armed forces of enemy, but instead to include his civil population, of ultimate conflict between a united human race and the sinister forces of others planetary galaxy, of such dreams and fantasies as to make life the most exciting of all time. And through all this welter of change and development, your mission remains fixed, determined, inviolable, which is to win our war. Everything else in your professional career is but corollary to this vital dedication. All other public purpose, all other public projects, all other public needs, great or small, will find other for its accomplishment, but you are one who are trained to fight. Yours is the profession of arms, the will to win, the sure knowledge that in the war there is no substitute for victory, that if you lose, the nation will be destroyed, and that the very obsession of your public service must be duty, honor, country. Others will debate the controversial issues, national and international, which divide men's mind, but serene, calm, aloof, you stand as the nation's war guardians and its lifeguards from the raging tides of international conflicts as its gladiators in the arena of battle for a century and a half. You have defended, guarded, and protected its hallowed traditions of liberty and freedom, of right and justice. Let civilian voices argue the merits or demerits of our process of government, whether our strength is being sapped by deficit financing indulged in too long, by federal paternalism grown too mighty, by power groups grown too arrogant, by political grown too corrupt, by crime grown too rampant, by moral grown too low, by taxes grown too high, by extremists grown too violent, whether our personal liberties are as firm and complete as they should be. These great national problems are not for your professional participation or military solution. Your guidepost stands out like a tenfold beacon in night. Duty, honor, country. You are the leaven which binds together the entire fabric of our national system of defense. From your ranks come the great captains who told and holds the nation's destiny in their hand. The moment the word tocsin sounds, the long grey line has never failed us. Were you to do so, a million ghosts in olive drab, in brown khaki, in blue and grey would rise from their white crosses, thundering those magic words duty, honor, country. This doesn't mean that you are warmongers. On the contrary, the soldiers above all the people other pray for peace, for he must suffer and bear the deepest wounds and scars of war. But always in our ear rings the ominous words of Plato, that wisest of all philosophers. Only the dead have seen the end of war. The shadow are lengthening for me, the twilight is here. My days of old have vanished, torn and tint. They have gone glimmering through the dreams of things and that they were. The memory is one of the wondrous beauty, watered by tears and coaxed and caressed by the smiles of yesterday. I listen then, but with thirsty ear for the watching melody of faint buglers blowing revel of far drums beating the long roll. In my dream, I hear again the crash of guns, the rattle of musketry, the strange mournful mutter of the battlefield. But in the evening of my memory, always I come to the West Point. Always there echoes and recos. Duty, honor, country. Today mark my final roll call with you, but I want you to know that when I cross the river, my last conscious thought will be of the corpse, of the coast, and of the corpse. I bid you farewell.